Welcome back to DXB today, where we're talking about Dubai being a global hub for content creators here and around the world. And we welcome our next guest. We're very excited to have the first ever employee of Snapchat right here in the studio. Please welcome to the show, Hussein Frijer. And you're more than just the first employee of Snapchat. You are now Vice President and General Manager. First of all, mashallah, congratulations.
Thank you. Just to clarify, first employee in Dubai, so we can...
Well, first, yeah, obviously.
Not ever.
Not ever. Yeah. Not ever.
He's the founder, guys.
The founder is here on DXB today. So tell me, how have you seen Snapchat evolve in the region? Because it's still used quite heavily, especially in the Gulf area.
Yeah, in the GCC, Snap is one of the most preferred, if not the most preferred platform within the GCC community across the board. I think that the whole mission of Snapchat, when it was created, the whole idea at that time, Evan and Bobby, the founders, the real ones, the real number one employees, when they created Snapchat, at that time social media was at the peak. And they saw a challenge with social media starting to become a lot of pressure on the audiences. It became more of like a public town hall for like just saying whatever you want to say. There was a lot of social pressure around likes and shares and being perfect and not being able to do it. So they saw that happening, and then they created Snapchat as kind of an antidote to social media, where they wanted to keep the communication amongst the people we care about, fans, family, and with a focus on visual communication and authenticity. Visual communication because there's a lot that we miss when we communicate through text. The emotions, the kind of the extra step of how we look like. And as well, we had features like ephemerality, features like vertical video, which all gave richness to the conversation, and it kind of created this idea of keeping the communication authentic and real. And that's the driving factor behind the success of Snapchat, and that resonated really well here in this part of the world. We, as a culture, we love privacy. As a culture, we love however our community and society goes, friends and family are core to whatever we do. So when Snap came and invested in allowing us to communicate with our closest people, it became very popular here.
Snapchat is very popular in my household because of my daughter. She doesn't have her own account. She uses my Snapchat to play with the filters because you guys have some of the best filters till date. My question to you is, I mean, with competitors like Instagram and TikTok and stuff, I want to ask why and what do you think has made Snapchat still so popular and relevant, especially in this part of the world? Because I understand that we have quite a young population over here, and typically the demographic of Snapchat, especially in the Middle East, is between 13 to 34. Am I right?
Yep. I think, like, try at home, try to tell your daughter, I'm going to send you a text message. Like, this generation was born with this idea of the full kind of spectrum of communication features that allows them to really communicate. When you tell them visual communication or communicating through snaps, that's to them is the norm. They would be very kind of like, why are you sending me a text message? Because it's very kind of, there's something missing out there. I think this is what resonates people. Exactly what Snapchat is about is how can we invest in technology that allows people to bring as much as, like we're talking now, to the digital platforms. When you sit with your friends in a coffee shop, you don't have a recorder on. Nothing is recorded, right?
It depends what we're talking about.
But the idea is the moment you put a recorder, the conversation changes, right? You're not yourself anymore. You have to think 10 times before you talk. Snapchat is a conversation with your friend that doesn't have a recorder on. It disappears. It has features like AR. It makes it way more fun to communicate and just like sit and play with that. So that playfulness and creativity, the whole idea is how can we make it as close as how we do it in real life? And I think this is where we're investing massively in comparison to other platforms.
So I'm curious, with Snapchat, I associate it sort of exactly with what you talked about, which is like a communication tool to talk to your friends, your family. But if I wanted to do that as a professional, I'm an influencer, I'm a creator, what do you think really makes Snap unique or special as a platform for someone who wants to build that following? Because as you mentioned, it is kind of an antidote, right? Like if you look at things like TikTok or Instagram, you have those likes and follower numbers, which are stressful, but also are your metrics. So how does that work with Snap?
How do you get paid?
If you look at the psychology and the mindset of the community on Snapchat, what made us really successful, specifically in the GCC region, is this idea of being yourself. That's where we invest a lot in technology to allow people to use AR, and you call them filters, to just be silly and just communicate their emotions as much as possible. When creators 8 years or 9 years ago came to Snap, if you notice the Snap dynamic, you open to a camera. So you're open, you create right away, versus an infinite feed of content that you have to power through. And this idea of the community expects a lot that people are themselves. Creators picked on it a lot. So creators on Snapchat, you'd see them having accounts and profiles everywhere. But when you see them on Snap, you see them very real. They actually produce very raw content about their life, and they would produce a very highly produced piece of content elsewhere. But when they come to Snap, they actually themselves. And the ones who succeeded are the ones who actually have a lot of value being themselves to the audience. And ones who are capable of creating content that keeps people inspired through their lifestyle. And that was really successful, because what happened there is it might take a little bit longer to acquire the audience and be patient to acquire, because when you build a relationship with people, you don't build it overnight. You don't make 15 friends immediately. You take years to build that relationship. But once you do it, it's sticky. There's a lot of engagement. There's a lot of value out of that. And that's exactly what happened with our GCC community. An example on this is you see a lot of creators still do 20, 30 posts a day, which if you take the global playbook of creation, people want to create less, so people power through those stories. At Snap, some creators still do 20 to 30 posts per day, and people still power through them because they're interesting. There's a relationship between them. Once you do that, monetization becomes really interesting, because brands see that the moment this relationship is built based on people wanting to know about that person, the value back becomes way more credible and way more trustworthy, versus we've been doing 10, 15 years of a lot of kind of produced, unreal, kind of fake kind of thing. That it worked very well in the beginning because the ecosystem was hungry for content. But I think now it is very clear when we talk to Snapchatters and the wider community as well, they're fed up. They want real stuff. And that's why you see a lot of people kind of maturing and saturating in their engagement. It is only when you have value, personal value, is where you see people taking the extra step from there.
Well, Hussein, it's always great sitting and talking to you, but Ash has a surprise for you right now.
Yes. Hussein, don't be nervous. Okay, so we're going to do something.
I think it's too late now.
See, just to put you on edge a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. So we have something called DXB in 60. It is a very simple quiz. You need to answer as many questions as possible within 60 seconds, okay? It's a bit like a rapid fire. Are you ready for this?
No, but let's just do it.
Okay, so your time is 3, 2, 1, let's go. Your first ever job.
Sales executive.
A superpower you wish you had.
Being invisible.
Your biggest inspiration.
Our designers at Snap.
The most important skill for a content creator.
Patience.
Favorite place to wind down after a long day.
Golf.
Favorite restaurant in Dubai.
There's a new spot that me and my wife really like a lot. It's called Kokuro in Circle Avenue.
A movie or series you recommend.
A lot of those. A movie or series. My favorite series is Scandal. Movie.
I think we're happy with
move
this
on,
series.
A book that changed your life.
The Power of Now.
If you could have dinner with anyone dead or alive, who would it be?
Sheikh Mohammed.
And finally, why Dubai?
Why not Dubai? It's Dubai is the whole thing. Everything is in Dubai, so why not Dubai?
Absolutely.
Dubai is
Well,
the real
Hussein,
deal.
thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being on
Appreciate
DXB today. And Omar, of course, always a pleasure to have you on, and we can't wait to catch your podcast Saturdays on Dubai One TV.
8 p.m.
All right, but for right now, don't go anywhere, because we have our performer in the studio coming up right after the break. Sophie Magali is going to be getting us into the festive spirit. We'll see you back here in a sec.